Hi again. My name is Shinia Lambert, and I am one half of Jackson, Todd, and Lambert, PLLC, a law firm located right here in Central Texas. We seek to primarily focus on business, church, and nonprofit law, but we've been known to dabble in a little estate planning and family law along the way. If you've been paying attention, we are in the middle of a two-part series addressing 10 steps to starting a nonprofit. Now, I have to give our traditional disclaimer. While we are attorneys and we are duly licensed to practice law here in the state of Texas, we don't currently have the privilege of being your attorney. And so any advice we give here is with the intention to inform and to educate, but we don't want you to take it as legal advice. What you're going to want to do is consult with an attorney that you can share your concerns with and whom you can inform regarding the specific facts of your case, and then they can be sure to give you legal advice that is applicable to not only what's going on with you, but where you're located, because where you're located does affect the laws and it does matter. So if you are located in Texas, or we're addressing something like intellectual property, trademarks, copyrights, things that are done on a federal level and not just a state level, then you may want to consult with us. And we would love to hear from you. Our information is going to be in the description box below. So with no further ado, let us get started with the next 5 steps that you're going to want to put in place if you are going to start a nonprofit. Ready? So step number 6 is going to be your bank account. Now, generally, whether you have a limited liability company, a nonprofit, or any other type of business entity, we're going to recommend that best practices hold that you have a business banking account. The same is true for a nonprofit, and generally the same steps are required in order to open that account. Now, any banking institution can employ its own methods or processes. However, generally what you're going to need is to have your governing documents and a photo ID. Your governing documents are going to include your formation documents, your bylaws if you have a nonprofit, and your EIN number. Accompany with your photo ID, you should have everything that you need to open that business bank account. Step number 7 are going to be your permits and your licenses. Now, this is one of those areas that's really going to be specific to the type of nonprofit you have, the service or good you're attempting to provide, and where you're located. You're going to have to do a little bit of legwork on this one. This is a great time to get in touch with your local and state government and find out what they require in your area in order to conduct the type of business that you want in order to contribute to your community. Now, again, those licenses or permits may be varied and there may be costs associated therewith. Make sure you get all the information that you need by contacting your local government or your Secretary of State or your state comptroller in order to get that information. I have found that they are super helpful as long as you come with the right questions. And yours is going to be, what kind of permit or license will I need to operate blank in blank type of operation and where you are located. Good deal? Great. Step number 8 is going to be insurance. So every entity type, especially if you're in a brick and mortar location, is going to be required to carry some type of general liability insurance, right? But nonprofits have an additional type that you may not have heard of, and that's called directors and officers liability insurance, or otherwise known as D&O insurance. D&O insurance is designed to protect your directors and your officers, as well as their spousals, from any type of personal liability in the event that they are sued by employees, investors, vendors, etc., for any actual or even alleged misconduct or wrongful act. Other types of insurance that you may want to consider, especially if you're thinking on hiring full-time employees to work for your nonprofit, could be workers' comp, medical insurance, dental insurance, or maybe even life insurance. Step number 9 is probably the big daddy of all 10, and that is applying for your federal tax exemption status with the IRS. Now, this is not a required step, but it is a desired step for most nonprofits. So the first thing we have to address is the fact that there are 2 vehicles or forms that you can use to apply for federal exemption status with the IRS, and that is going to be your 1023-EZ form or the traditional 1023. Now, the IRS named it the 1023-EZ because it's intended to imply by its name alone that it is the easier of the two forms, and it is, without a doubt. The 1023-EZ is basically 3 pages, a very simple application that you could probably fill out within 30 minutes to an hour at most. Even if you've never seen it before, as long as you had your government documents handy. And that would, again, include your formation documents, your EIN, as well as your bylaws. As long as you have that handy and can access it, this is a breeze to complete. Now, if you don't qualify to use the 1023-EZ, and we'll talk about that in a second, and you have to use the 1023, I highly, highly recommend you employing a legal professional, a tax professional, a CPA, or any type of financial specialist that can help you fill out this form. It requires very detailed financial information that goes above and beyond your governing documents. This is something that we highly encourage you get assistance with, and there's nothing wrong with delegating and or asking for help. You want this done right, and you want it done right the first time. Now, how do you know which form to use? Great question. There is a little questionnaire that the IRS has put out, a worksheet, if you will, that allows you to answer certain questions. And there are 2 in particular that if you answer yes, you cannot use that form, and they relate to how much money the nonprofit has earned or is expected to earn either in the past 3 years or the upcoming 3 years. And if you answer yes to that particular question or set of questions, then you know the 1023-EZ is not for you. In your mind, if you're a new and kind of upcoming burgeoning nonprofit, you've not really done anything yet, know that the 1023-EZ is for you. If you've been functioning for a business as a while and you've been doing great, you can probably expect that you're going to have to use the traditional form. Do not let that discourage you. Just don't be afraid to ask for help. Now, whether you use the 1023-EZ or the 1023, you're going to apply online through the IRS website, pay.gov. That is the official IRS website. You're going to set up an account. You're going to fill out your applications digitally. It will allow you to save and come back, which is really important, especially if you're doing the longer form, which can be up to 30 pages. I know it's a lot. It'll also allow you to pay any fees or costs associated with your applications right there, all in the same spot. So they try to make it as easy as possible. Again, regarding that worksheet, if I've not already said so, then I will try to link it down below just to make it easy for you to find so you can determine which vehicle or form is right for you. Last but not least, I just want to make this one quick tip. I know that through business lingo and kind of these different discussion forums and chats and Facebook groups, people make 501c3 status synonymous with federal tax exemption status. And those are 2 different things. 501c3 is a type of organization that is eligible for tax exempt status. But 501c3 refers to charitable organizations, meaning just because you're not a 501c3 organization doesn't mean you can't obtain federal tax exempt status. You may fall under one of the other statutes. And so if you have ever been discouraged from applying because you're not considered a charitable organization by the IRS, that doesn't mean you're out for the count. Again, if you consult with a legal professional or a tax professional, you may find that you qualify under one of the other different types that are allowed and eligible to obtain that same status with the IRS. So don't be discouraged. Again, just make sure you do your homework. And last but not least, step number 10, this is a step that is made tremendously easier by completing step number 9 first, and that is applying for your state exempt status for taxes. Because if your state is anything like Texas, it pretty much defers to whatever the IRS has said. So once you get that official letter from the IRS stating that you have achieved your goal of getting federal tax exempt status, attaching that to your state application is going to guarantee that you're approved to be exempt from state tax as well, which is a huge benefit. So that is it. We have covered all 10 steps to starting a nonprofit. Again, if you're located in Texas and would like to consult with us or have any questions or concerns, our information is in the description box below. If you have any questions or concerns and you're not located in Texas, just comment down below and we will do our best to answer them and or hopefully refer you to someone else who may be able to do so. Thank you guys again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye.